Good afternoon, everyone. Now we will continue our discussion about functions. Previously, we discussed about operations and functions, and actually we also included the composition of functions. For this day, this afternoon, we will be discussing on the graph of special functions. But before that, let us use the dismus.com to explore on what are the pictures of these functions. Okay, are you ready? Ready na? Kindly press thumbs up if you are ready. You can use the reaction button if you are ready. Okay, how about the rest? Are you ready? I only see Kyle who is ready. How about the rest? Di pa ready? Okay, daghan nang nag-press of thumbs up. Okay, good. Okay, so let us start with the very basic function of this one. The very basic function is the what we call the linear function. If you have a linear function, then it must be of the form ax plus by plus c. Okay, or somehow it can also be written as y is equal to mx plus b, right? So they are just same linear function but in different form. This is in general form, this is in standard form. So what we will be using is only this one. And we must see to it that if you have this function, this form rather, see to it that this portion of m and this b are any real number. Okay? So say for example, you have say a function y equal to 2x plus 3. So if you have that one, then kabalo mo saan pa graph sa function class? Kaya mo doon pa? Actually, the common method that the students are using are you have set of points, then you graph it for a while. We will be exploring on how to what are the pictures of the graph. The first one is the linear. So this one will be you can graph it by looking at your x-intercept and your slope. Okay, x-intercept and the slope. So if you can see here your y-intercept rather, this is y-intercept. Your y-intercept is 3. It means your point will pass through the point 0, 3. So if you graph that one here, it must be located at 0, positive 3. It must be somewhere here, right? Did I know? And then your slope, as we all know, in your previous math, your slope here is 2, and we know that slope is defined as rise over run. Okay? So it means if you have 2 as your slope, 2 can be written as 2 times 1. So it will rise twice and it will run once going to the right because this is positive. But if this is the negative, going to the left. So you will move it twice up, 1, 2 here, then you will run once going to the right, so it will be the other point here. Okay? And you only have 2 points to form a line. If you know that line, that 2 points, then you can create your line. So in that case, this will be the picture of your line. Okay? That is the picture of your line. And if we will check it, in the Dismos, if we will type that y equal to 2x plus 3, as you can see, wala na, hiwi lang tangay gamay ako ang kuan, but that is really the graph. Okay? See it? That line will be the exact line. Okay, is it clear? So if you will have this form, if you will have this form, y equal to mx plus b, then your graph is a line, is a line. And it is a line either inclining to the right or inclining to the left. It is inclining to the right like this if your slope is positive. Just like here, your slope is positive 2. But if your slope is negative, then it is inclining to the left. Clear? Is it clear, class? So what you will remember is, if you will have y equal to mx plus b, then that is, the graph of that is a line. That is called a linear function. That is the very first one, linear function. And the graph of a linear function is a line. Okay, let us have the next one. We still have another linear function that is called the identity function. The identity function is defined as y equal to x. Remember, y in the function can be written as f of x, right? So whatever is the input is the same with the output. And if you graph that one, and if you graph that, if you will look at in the Dismos, it will just align diagonal with your Cartesian coordinate plane. Something like diri, ana, straight na line. Diretso lang na to. Y equal to x will look like this. And this function is called the identity function. Okay? This is called the identity function. And the graph of your identity function is this line. Okay? And if your function is given by, say, your function is given by f of x equal to the negative of x, then it will be the other way around. So if we will plot it there sa Dismos, it will be y equal to the negative of x, and it will look like this in green. Okay? Okay. Again, this function is called the identity function, this one. Whatever is the input, that would be the output. That is called identity function. So, duha na. We have the linear function and the identity function. By the way, class, this identity function is one of the linear functions. Because as you observe here, and if you look at here, this one can be written of the form y equal to mx plus b, right? In this case, your m is 1, your slope is 1, but your b is 0. So that is still in the form of y equal to mx plus b. It means identity function is also a linear function. Okay? Okay, that's the second one. The third one is, okay, let me remove this. The third one is the constant function. So the constant function is given by y equal to c, where c is any real number or any constant. So one best example for that is y equal to 5. And if, as you can see, if that is a constant function, then your graph is a horizontal line. Okay? A horizontal line. But if you try another function, say y equal to the negative of 10, then here, still a horizontal line, but here your y is equal to the negative 10. Okay? And the same thing with your x-axis. X-axis is also a constant function because x-axis is given by y equal to 0, and that is in red. Okay? That's it. Okay, that is called the constant function. And again, this is y equal to c, or you can also use b para pareha lang form, where b is any real number. Actually, a constant function is also a linear function. As you can see, it is also a line. And if you compare that to y equal to mx plus b, in this case, your m, this can be written, this one, can be written as 0x plus b. In that case, your m is 0 and your b will be any number. Still, that is of the form y equal to mx plus b. It means a constant function is also a linear function. Okay? So tulo na no? We are done discussing three different special functions. We have another one, say the quadratic function. Quadratic function. What do you know about quadratic function, class? Have you heard about this before?
Yes, sir.
Yes, unsay na numduman ana Amir makagaan.
Parabola la sa sir. Ang graph ana sir kay parabola 5 ka points, set of points.
Okay, if you say a quadratic function, the highest exponent is 2, right? So one example for that quadratic function is the parabola, of course, the y, by the way, this one, example 4x squared, okay? But there are functions with the highest exponent of 2, but there are equations, rather, there are relations that are not a function but under still in quadratic. Okay, so for example, if we try this one, if we will check this, y equal to 4x squared squared. And that, maningin ni Amir ganina, ang graph niya is a parabola. Okay? Remember, the highest exponent is 2. Now, that is, if you have the highest, if you have of the form, if you are given with y equal to ax squared plus bx plus c, then that is a quadratic function. Now, if I will give you this one, if I will say, is it a function? What do you think? Is it a function? Yes or no? Michelle, what do you think? Michelle Lu, the Duli. Is it a function? Yes or no?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Yes, how about the rest? What do you think? Is it a function? Chelsea, what do you think, Chelsea? Is it a function?
No, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. Si Jenny Lynn Dakot, what do you think? Is it a function?
Yes, sir.
Oh, what do you remember in our previous discussion? Saan pagkabalo nga ang equation function? By looking at the exponent of y. Di ba, Dexter? Ang exponent ni y ang tanawon. Kung even, dili na siya function. Kung odd, function na siya. As you can see here, the exponent of y is even. So it means this is not a function. But this is just a mere relation. Got it? And if you look at that, if you will graph that one, if you will graph there, y squared equal to 8x. Tanaw gani yung sa iyang graph. Di ba kanang green? That is the graph. And as you can see, if you will draw a vertical line, if you will use the vertical line test, your vertical line will pass your graph more than once. Therefore, in green, this in green is not a function. Okay? It's not a function, but still a relation. You can still graph it, but as you look at the graph, it is not a function because it will cross your vertical line more than once. Okay? So, but what we discussed today are those special functions only. That is why I only provided the form y equal to ax squared plus bx plus c as the quadratic function. Okay? Nasabtan? So quadratic function will be of this form. One example for that is y equal to 4x squared plus 3x plus 1. That is a quadratic function. And if you will graph it using the dismos.com, actually, if you enrolled in STEM, you will get to know how to graph those functions, especially those circle, ellipse, parabola, hyperbola. Those are relation with the highest exponent of 2. But there are cases that they may not be a function. but just a mere relation. If you will graph that one, it will be equal to y equal to 4x squared plus 3x plus 1. And if as you can see, if you graph this, that will be in purple. This will be the graph of that. Okay? So and as you can see, this is really a function, because if you will draw there any vertical line anywhere of your graph, it will only cross your graph at one point only. Okay? Sabtan? Okay. So pila na ka functions atong na-discuss? Yes, Jesse?
4.
Again,
GC
Jesse?
sir kanang ni chat ang mga classmates sa GC sir ba? Pwede
Mm.
mo daw i-accept nimo sila.
Oh, na ko sila na-accept?
Ganyan.
Okay, for
Wala
one.
sir.
Thank you. Nadaidagan. Okay, thank you. Okay, I admit them all na. Okay, let's continue. Makasulod
Thank
na
you
sila.
sir.
Okay, na-inform them nga joining na sila. Okay, let's continue. Can you mute your microphone? Heidi, okay, let's continue. So, aside from that, we okay. Ang bagong sulod ba nang-mute ilang microphone. Okay, again, kindly be reminded that you should mute your microphone. Maybe they just entered the Zoom, their mic are na-unmute daan. Okay. Aside, pila na kay ka-function na itong na-discuss, class?
4 sir.
4.
Upat, sir.
Sige, ang una nga function, first function,
Linear function.
linear,
Function.
identity,
Identity, tapos constant, then
constant,
quadratic.
and quadratic. We also have what we call cubic function. Cubic function is of the form ax cubed plus bx squared plus cx plus d. Any function of that form is called a cubic function. One example for that is y equal to x cubed. That is a cubic function. And if you graph that one, it will be given by this y equal to x cubed. As you can see, mura siya gaana, no? I will be giving a picture later nga. You will realize, amo din ang ilang mga pictures later. Okay. So that is a cubic function. That will be the picture of the graph of a cubic function. Okay. Next one. Another one is the absolute value function. The absolute value functions. Okay. The absolute value function is given by y equal to the absolute value of x. Or you may have here, you may have transformations for your graph later. So if you will have, say for example, you graph that one. Let me admit them. Okay. Say for example, you will graph that y equal to the absolute value, absolute value of x. And that will be the graph. As you can see, mura siya V. Okay? Mura siya V. But if you will make that negative, that will be the picture. Mura mubali po sa ubos. If that is negative. Okay? If that is positive, then V jud siya nga form. Okay? That is the absolute value function. And what will happen if you will add 2 here? So mura na siyang musibog going to the left. Okay? If you added a positive value. But if you will add, actually that is one of our discussion after sa exponential, the transformation of function. If you will subtract 2 here, musibog po siya going to the right. The same form, but musibog is going to the right. Okay? And if you will be adding somewhere here, this agawa sa absolute value, example, plus 2, musaka siya sa babaw. Okay? The same form pero musaka sa babaw. But if that is negative, musaka, maubos siya into 2 units. Okay? And if you make it 3, musibog po siya 3 units going down. Okay? So we will discuss further on how to do that after we discuss the the exponential functions para ma-consider na to kanang kinds of function. So as of now, basta na absolute value gani ma-involve sa inyong function, then the graph will look like a V. Okay? So that's it for the absolute value function. So kung may wala na discuss. Okay, the square root function. The square root function. Okay. We should discuss this one. This is the most misconception of the students. If you have the form y equal to square root of x, ang pangutana, class, pariha ba daw na kung y squared equal to x? What do you think? Do they have the same graph? Pariha ra ba ni sila? Equivalent ra ba ni sila?
Dili, sir.
Ang anong
No,
makaingon man ka nga dili Amir? Amir.
Okay.
Ha?
Basta, kalimot ko kagad lang. Katuma ka namang y squared equals x, sir. Kaya di ba murag parabola siya pero sideways.
Mm.
Tapos kanang y
Ani?
equals square root of x, sir. Kay dili, di ba? Dili, musit si tawag na ganiya. Nag-conrag yapon, sir, tong linear equation.
Okay.
Sakto ba?
Quadratic mangyapon ni Amir, quadratic. Naipunto si Amir but nanay kulang gamay. And look at this one. Tanawan ninyo. If I will take the square root here, what will happen? Kasi mahitabo.
Pareha.
Mawala ang
Be
square, sir,
cancelled
sa
out, right?
y.
It will be
Oo.
y. It will be
Equals
square root
of x.
of x. And it is the same with this, right?
Hmm.
But bear in mind, if you take the square root from this original function and you're performing square root, it should be plus or minus. Got it? Kung sa'y kalainan na nila, kung kana na daan ang gihatag, that is only for positive square root of x. That is not plus and minus x. Pero kung ang gihatag is y squared equal to the square root of x, naanay duha ka value. It can be written as this. It can be y equal to square root of x, and it can be y equal to negative square root of x. Got it? So it means if you are given with this form, as you can see, the exponent of y is 1. And if you look at here, the exponent of y is 2. Right? So this is not a function, but this is a function. I will prove to you by using the Dismos. Let us graph it using Dismos. If we will have here, can you look at y equal to, na itong y squared. Y squared equal to x. Kung sa iyang graph, class. Sa iyang graph.
Parabola.
Parabola opening to the right. And if you will draw here a vertical line, if you will draw a vertical line here, can you look at here? Kapila siya ni Agi sa imong graph?
Kadua.
Dua.
Duha. So it means this is not a function, right? Not function. Clear? Is it clear? Are you convinced now that this is not a function? And if we will try the other one that I mentioned a while ago, if we will try y equal to the square root of x, can you look at there? Kung sa iyang graph. Kanang naa sa green. As you can see, katurang naa sa babaw. Kuha? Okay? Kanang, kung ako ni i-remove kanang blue, kana ang graph ni y squared equal to x. Kaning duha ka parts. Ang upper ug ang lower. But if you will do it individually, if you want to solve it, y equal to negative square root of x, that is the graph. Itong sa ubos ra. And if you will get the positive, y equal to square root of x, and that is only the positive, the upper portion. If you combine these two, katong graph nga y squared equal to x. Clear? Sa ato pa di ay, sa ato pa, pasabot, this is just part of the graph of this. As well as this is just part of the graph of this one. Klaro? Nasabtan? So, as you remember, kung tagi-tagihon siya class, this is a function. Tagi-tagihon also a function, but this one is not a function. Clear? And these two are called square root functions. Square root functions. Square root function is of the form y equal to the negative square root of x or y equal to the square root of x. Question? No question. Very good. Okay. Asa pa may na ito na-discuss? Cubic, manata, absolute value. I think that's all that we need to discuss. I think that's all. Mora to. Mga special functions that we will be napadi ay logarithmic functions, and I think that will be part of our next discussion. Y equal to the logarithm of x. Ang iyahang mga functions, forms of functions. I think I wait for a while. Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Pwede ba daw pa-accept si Mary Grace?
Na-accept naman tanan.
Kasad.
Pabalik ka sa sulod.
Kay nawala iyang connection ganiya, so na-out siya.
Pabalik ka sa sulod.
Sige, sir. Thank you.
Sige. That is one. Okay. Those are pila ka functions atong na-discuss, class? Pila ka po? Wala na ko naihap, no? Dagan to. So those are the
Mga
special
7.
functions. 7, no? Okay. These are the forms. I just grabbed this picture from Facebook, and I am amazed with this. And karon nga nag-discuss ata makarelate na mo ani nga post. So this is the math functions. The first one is what's nga function, class?
Linear function.
Linear, but be specific. What linear function is that?
Identity, sir.
Identity function. Yes, this is a linear function, but this is more specific to be called as identity function. How about this?
Quadratic.
Quadratic function. Very good. And the graph of that is ana, di ba? Ana. Or going down. Depende kung negative. How about this? What function is
Cubic.
this?
Cubic, sir.
Cubic function.
Cubic.
Kani nga mga functions, trigonometric functions, wala ni nato na discuss kay ipang discuss na dito sa as well as this dito sa pre-calculus. Anyways, this is the sine function. This is the cosine function, the tangent function, the cotangent function.
Note that this is not a function. It's just a mere relation. The last one.
Si tawag ani niya basta 1 over x. So somehow like ang iyang graph will look like this one. If that is x, imong i-take ang reciprocal function. It is called the reciprocal function. And if you make it the negative, then mobalin na siya sa pikas the other way around. Instead of having here, it will be this portion and here. That is the reciprocal function. And this one is the absolute value function. As you can see, it will form a V, right? A V.
Yes, sir.
Now you can relate, no? Makarelate na gamay, no? Sa mga graphs sa function. Still, this is absolute value function but going down because this is negative. That is negative. Can you mute your microphone, please? Eliza? Okay. The other one is, this is still the identity siya pero negative, right? The negative of the identity function. That is why the other sides here instead of having here. Okay, this one is the logarithmic function. And this is the exponential function that we have. Maybe na-miss ko atong butang sa values kaganiha. This is the logarithmic function going there. The exponential function is going the other side. Okay? So, take note of that. And the last one is this. The circle.
Again, this is not a
So, it
function.
will be
It's
x
just
squared
a
plus
mere
y
relation.
squared equal to a squared. And this a will represent your radius of your circle. Okay? So, that's it. Those are the special functions that I need to discuss today before I will proceed with our discussion in rational function next.